going to be a class dedicated toward bringing more awareness in through our pelvis and our hips, and I'm excited to share this class with you guys. So if you have 2 blocks, it's not required, but you can have 2 blocks in front of you if you like. Otherwise, we'll take a seat on the floor in a cross-legged position, on a pillow, or something along the lines of that. And then we'll find a tall spine, and we'll take a deep breath in through the nose, and an open mouth exhale. Deep breath in through your nose. Open mouth exhale. Good, one more. Breath in. And breath out. So, as we get settled into this space, I want you to pretend like you're breathing into the bottom of your pelvis here. So say this is my pelvis. I want you to send that breath all the way down in through the base of your pelvis on your inhale. And then on your exhale, you're gonna find a gentle contraction through your pelvis, through your pelvic floor, as you release your exhale. 2 more breaths like that. Breathing all the way down deeply in through the bottom of your pelvis, and try to expand your pelvic floor into the floor. Good, exhale, gentle contraction, pulling your pelvis back up. And then one more breath in as you expand your pelvic floor down into the earth. And then exhale, pull your pelvic floor away from the earth. So I'm going to stay here in silence for a moment so that you can really tune into what's happening here for you. And if it's hard for you, that's fine. If it's easy for you, great. But we're just bringing some awareness into the musculature of the base, through the base of our pelvis. Just about 5 breaths here on your own. About 2 more breaths here. Good, and then release that work. You can open your eyes, and we'll stay in a seat. If you want to, shift a little bit, that's more than welcome. But we're going to stay in our seat here, and I want you to bring your weight in through your left butt cheek. Right, and just notice how that shifted things for you here. And then shift your weight into your right butt cheek or your right sits bone. And we'll just move side to side, subtly, gently. So again, this is the bottom of our pelvis that we're connecting to. So the bottom of our pelvic bowl. These little bony protrusions, depending how juicy of a butt you have versus not. Sometimes you'll feel extra like clicking as you shift side to side, or if you have an extra juicy booty, you might not feel it so much. So back and forth a few times. All right, good. Now we're going to imagine tucking our tailbone underneath. So tuck your tailbone underneath, and you'll find a rounding of your lower back this way. Good, now you're going to pretend like you're tipping your pelvis over as you anterior tilt your pelvis. That's a frontward tilt. And then a posterior tilt as you tilt it back. So tucking the tailbone under and then pulling the tailbone back. Okay, just a few times on your own. Again, noticing what comes up for you here, right? Any stories you create throughout your movement practice, and just be super present with those stories. If you don't know what I mean by that, then that's completely fine. Just move with intention, with the intention to learn, to take in more data about your body. Good. Now we're going to combine those movements. So now we're going to create a circle. So we'll shift over to the left, and then we're going to send our weight back as you tuck your tailbone underneath you, and then shift your weight to the right, and then you're going to shift your pelvis over as you lift your tailbone up, right? And then tuck the tailbone under, and just continue that circle. I'll let you know when to switch directions. And I always like to give real world examples of when we can do our movement practice beyond this video. So for example, if we're sitting in our car, you don't always have to sit still. You can shift your pelvis as you sit in your car, as you sit in your chair, right? I know that it's better to stand, of course, but if you have to be sitting for long periods of time, it's very helpful to just find these gentle shifts. And then we'll switch the direction. So now wherever you're at, we'll switch that direction. And just few circles here, allowing the pelvis to dictate the movements rather than like the torso, if that makes sense. Right? The pelvis is the one that's like creating like this tension along the floor to create the movement. So I'm not moving my rib cage around my pelvis, it's my pelvis that's moving around the rib cage. It's kind of an interesting concept. Kind of hard movement to do, but all worth it to find more ease in your daily living. Good, and we'll do one more rotation. All right, good job. And go ahead, find a neutral pelvis and notice how you feel, any sensations you feel through this space. Nice job. And we'll find a standing position. I may or may not have to put my dog away. We'll see how well he behaves, but for now he's chilling. This is Louie, by the way. And hands can come to your hips and feet will be underneath the hips here. And same thing that we're doing on the floor, but now we're doing it in a standing position. But now I want you to pretend like you are inside of a wine barrel and you're tracing the insides of that wine barrel. So I'm sending my hips back, sending my hips out to the sides, and then tucking my tailbone underneath my body as I shift forward. So it's a really slow movement. And again, I'm gonna always bring up the mind in our movement practice, especially when we're moving really slowly. What happens when you move slow? What story do you create for yourself? That story might involve, I don't have time for this. This is too slow. This isn't doing anything, right? There's stories like that that are happening, possibly. Maybe not you, but sometimes people who have a tendency to not be able to slow down, me, those stories come up, right? So nice and slow. Sending those hips back, tracing the insides of the wine barrel, gathering our data. Good, and then I'm gonna allow you to switch your direction if you haven't done so yet. So switch, tuck that tailbone underneath. Oh, hips, hello. Nice, sending those hips back. So it's almost like an RDL if you do weightlifting or hinging or a halfway lift in yoga. Ardha Uka. I missed the Sanskrit word. Ardha Uttanasana, that's the Sanskrit word. Nice, beautiful breathing. Continue tracing that wine barrel on the inside. Hopefully I'm not giving you a bunch of ideas on drinking a bunch of wine later, but hey, it's all about balance, right? And release. Good. And we're just gonna find a little bit of soft bounces here, allowing the heels to thud into the earth beneath you and allow the arms to sway side to side. Nice, deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Deep breath in. And open mouth, exhale. One more, breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Good, go ahead and find some stillness. Hands can come to the belly. Beautiful. All right, we'll do a few more postures and that will be the end of our class here, okay? So we'll explore our pelvic tilts in chair pose. So you'll bend the knees, sit your hips back. You can bring your hands to your pelvis. And again, we're gonna gently shift our pelvis to the left and then shift your pelvis to the right. And just go back and forth between these side to side motions, right? I'm going to give you a frontal view here. And again, notice what hikes up, notice what drops down, and how the relationship of your pelvis shifts with your rib cage, with your shoulders, maybe even with your breath. Beautiful. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and stand tall. Give your legs a little rest. Again, notice any sensations you feel through the legs, through the pelvis, through your hips. All right, so now we'll find chair pose, but we'll find anterior tilt and posterior tilt in chair. So I'll give you a side view for what that looks like. And I like to bring my hands to my hips as I do this. So you're gonna tilt your pelvis down as you find this arch through your back. And then you're gonna tilt your pelvis under like you're a scared dog, pretty much, right? You're gonna tuck your pelvis underneath, right? Find that rounding. And just a few times like that, tilting the pelvis forward, and then tilting your pelvis back. A couple more times. Three, 2, and 1. Stand tall, relax. Again, noticing any sensations you feel, allowing them to pass through, right? Allow that energy to flow. Feel your heartbeat. feel your breath. All right, so now we'll combine that in chair. We're gonna do some circles in the chair. So shift your weight to the left, and then you're gonna slowly tuck your tailbone underneath as you press your pelvis forward. Send your hips to the right, and then send your hips back. Kind of same concept we were doing in a standing position, but now it's with our knees bent, and it's a little bit more effortful, because now we're working our quadriceps, which are a muscle of the hips. They are our hip flexors. They do this motion with the psoas muscle. I'm not gonna get too anatomical with you right now, but quadriceps, the tops of the quadriceps are hip flexors. Good, and then if you need to take a break, take a break. Otherwise, let's switch the direction. And this movement is happening through our pelvis, not the legs. Hip motions here. Nice, 3. And 2. Ooh, my legs, and 1. Go ahead and stand tall. Relax. Oh my goodness. Good, what data have you gathered? Maybe you can't cognitively know that yet, but somatically you probably do. Beautiful. Go ahead and open your eyes. And we'll do one more type stretch here to just bring some awareness through the pelvis. We're going to open our legs nice and wide, and feet will come out, heels in. Bend your knees a good amount, so we'll find this like sumo squat position. And from here, we're gonna just shift the pelvis side to side. So it's not like a huge movement. It's just side to side. So we're getting some stretching through our adductor muscles. And focusing on, again, what is coming up for you with these small movements. Again, no thing in this world, I think, is too small to notice. At least in my own practice, this is what moving slowly has been meaning for me. It's been allowing me to find more joy in the smaller, more simple things in life, because I've been tuning into these smaller, simple movements through my body. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and straighten your legs. We'll find a 5-pointed star to make ourselves nice and big and expansive. This is one of my favorite postures. It could feel scary for you, could feel invigorating for you, but just sit with that, stand with that sensation that you feel, that emotion that you feel. Take a breath in all the way through the bottoms of your feet. Good, and then on your breath out, bend your knees again. We're gonna find that wide stance. So now we'll find those tailbone tucks. So press your pelvis forward and then send your pelvis back. I feel like I'm in that, I don't know, I think John Travolta is in this movie. I forget the name of the movie, but like the woman and him are in this exercise class, and they like make eye contact and they're just doing this like movement. That's what I feel like. Oh, I wish I knew the name of that movie, but I feel like the people that know will know. So again, pressing that pelvis forward, tucking your tailbone under. Again, what is working for you? I really feel like the upper adductor muscles work as I tuck my tailbone under. Maybe that's true for you as well. Ooh. 3, 2, and 1. Straighten your legs, straighten your arms. 5 pointed star. Big breath in all the way through the bottoms of your feet. Good. On your breath out, open mouth exhale, fold over. Good, and then heel toe your feet underneath your hips. Roll your spine all the way up, nice and steady. And that is your pelvic awareness movement practice, I suppose. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. I would love for you to comment and give me some feedback. That would be so amazing. And yeah, just let me know how it works out for you. So I hope to see you again next time. Peace out and happy movements.